Joining us now is Tom Williams. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, James. Lovely to be with you.
Well, yeah, and on such a special day as well. What's this? There we are.
Gwaitha pawb o'r phopeth rydyn yn amar o hyd.
Woo!
That, James, is the unmistakable sound, of course, of David Iwan and his song Amar o hyd, which has become the Welsh anthem for this World Cup.
It certainly has, Tom. Red Storm is coming. Red Storm is coming. First match at a World Cup in 64 years. Did you ever think you'd see this day?
No, because as someone who sort of grew up in the 1990s when Wales were at rock bottom for pretty much the entire decade, I used to think that I would never see Wales qualify for a major tournament. And I used to think if they just qualify for one major tournament just once, that'll be enough. Even if they stink the place out, if they lose every game, that will do. And here we are, our third major tournament out of the last four, but as you say, first World Cup since 1958, which means that if you're aged under 70, you've never seen Wales play at a World Cup before. So amid all the historic achievements of recent years, qualifying for Euro 2016, getting to the semi-finals in France, qualifying for Euro 2020, this first World Cup appearance since 1958 is right up there.
All right. What moments you've been through to get here? The Kiefer Moore in the game against Belgium, and then Bale again against Austria, and then Bale again against Ukraine with a bit of help from Yarmolenko. What's it going to be like, do you think, watching Wales at a World Cup? What kind of a footballing spectacle will they provide?
I mean, one of the features of watching Wales in recent years has been kind of getting used to the idea that they're generally good. They generally show up. For someone who kind of grew up watching Wales through his fingers, if not behind the sofa, you can generally rely on Wales to produce composed performances. And we obviously saw that Euro 2016. We saw that at times at Euro 2020. We saw that throughout the qualifying campaign for this World Cup, and we particularly saw that in those two playoff games against Austria and Ukraine. I mean, Wales are not always a spectacular team to watch. Generally a counter-attacking side who rely on the pace of Dan James and sort of moments of magic from Gareth Bale. But they're generally pretty tidy in possession. They're comfortable on the ball, and they have a lot more experience of playing at major tournaments than this USA team. The States are obviously going into this tournament with a new generation. So I worry a little bit about the amount of energy that they'll bring with their various young whippersnappers and how Wales will cope with that. But the sort of lesson from the last two tournaments that Wales have qualified for is that generally speaking, Wales aren't overawed and generally give a good account of themselves.
Yeah, you always get out of the group. Matt, you're half Welsh, aren't you? Suddenly,
I certainly am. Yeah, my father.
That's
is
the
Welsh.
Davis part of the Davies-Adams.
Certainly is. Tom, I was just wondering who's going to start in goal.
Good question. It's a good question. I mean, when the season started, Danny Ward was obviously between the posts for Leicester. Wayne Hennessy was sitting on the bench for Forest. You thought, a great opportunity for Danny Ward to play himself into a bit of form. And then Leicester had such a dreadful start to the season, and Danny Ward in particular seemed to commit a blunder in practically every game. You thought, well, it's probably going to be Hennessy, isn't it? Because he is the safer pair of hands. He's got the greater experience. But in the recent turnaround that Leicester, that Leicester went on prior to the season being halted, Danny Ward was one of the star men, racking up the clean sheets and the spectacular saves. So, yeah, I think Rob Page has got a difficult decision to make. On the one hand, you've got Danny Ward, who's in great form, and on the other hand, you've got Wayne Hennessy, who is obviously one of the heroes of Euro 2016, who's still around. So yeah, that'll be one to look out for when the team sheets get handed in.
Tom, any word on the fitness of Gareth Bale? Is he all tip-top and everything, and Aaron Ramsey, etc.?
Yeah, Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey both look like they're going to be fit to start. Aaron Ramsey's been playing regularly for Nice, competing 90 minutes even, playing in the midfield too, so he looks like he'll be fine. Gareth Bale's minutes have obviously been very carefully managed at LAFC, but he seems to be fit and fresh from scoring that crucial late equaliser in the MLS Cup final. The main injury issue for Wales is the absence of Joe Allen, which Rob Page confirmed at his press conference this afternoon, and he is, one of the stalwarts of the Euro 2016 campaign. One of the most experienced players in that squad, and a very important player. If not the most important player in helping Wales to settle in the early stages of matches, and my sense is that the States with their various young midfielders and attacking players are really going to fly out of the traps and want to get up in Wales's grill. So I worry that Joe Allen's absence could be costly, but at the same time, there are other players who play in that part of the pitch. Ethan Ampadu can play in centre mid, even though he generally plays at the back for Wales. You've got Joe Morrell, who started regularly at Euro 2020. So, yeah, Joe Allen will be a miss, but there are players who can step in who've got relevant international experience with Wales.
Joe Allen, famously a chicken enthusiast, and also someone who's appeared in the European final more recently than Lionel Messi. So he's got the pedigree.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel.